The increase in other revenue is due mainly to the other revenues such as other revenue drivers such as driver's license and various other fees at the census. In addition, an additional 1.8 million guilders has been budgeted for funds to be received from the EU to finance specific projects such as early warning systems and the single-use plastics. Expenditures. In line with the revenue, there's also an increase in expenses of approximately 22 million guilders. This leads to a net result of 1 million guilders for the year 2023. This increase in expenses is primarily due to an increase in the personnel costs of 5.7 million guilders and the material costs of 16 million guilders. The personnel cost increase is primarily due to the increase of the actual cost of the OZR, which is approximately 10 million guilders higher than initially budgeted. 5 million of this increase is incorporated in the personnel costs and 5 million in the social provisions which relate to the medical assistance. The remaining 12 million guilders mainly due to an increase of 8 million in goods and services, of which 4.5 million relates to goods and services under VRUMI, 1.8 million relates to costs associated with the revenue received from the EU, and 1.6 million relates to the increase in costs under justice for the SBIR application, which is used within the law enforcement chain in the islands Aruba, Bonaire, Statia, Saba, and St. Martin. In addition to the above, as we received the definitive calculation from the justice pertaining to the function book, which was presented to the governor on August 18th, 2023. As these payments will be made in the installment, it was key to include these in the multi-year budget. As such, the amounts pertaining to the specific years were included in the multi-year aspect of the budget. Capital expenditures. With regard to the capital investments for the year 2023, no changes have been made. The total capex remains unadjusted of 90.1 million guilders. In November 2023, we finally received a 60.8 million guilders requested loan. In the initial budget, we had an amount of 74.1 million guilders because we were unsure if the Netherlands was going to pay for the phase 1 of the prison. However, phase 1 was paid for by the Netherlands, and we only needed to request 60.8 million guilders for the remaining investments, as the remaining 29 million guilders was covered by the Netherlands, as I previously mentioned, which also included the investment of the tax system and the financial management system. As stated previously, on May 30th, the letter was sent to the requested loan by the Central Bank. However, on the 31st of May, we were informed that the process of the loan request has since changed because of COVID, or since COVID. As such, a risicoregeling and risk assessment had to be made and approved by the Council of Ministers of the Kingdom, so the Kingdom Council of Ministers, and also the first and second chamber, which was also new for us in St. Martin. Given the recess, also in the Netherlands, the approval came in September 2023. After approval, the Central Bank still had to officially put out the release for inscription to the loan, which was done at the end of October 2023. This all led to us finally receiving the CAPEX loan on our bank account on St. Martin Day, November 11, 2023. We did not expect the process to take so long. However, we remain committed to taking all the necessary steps and responding as quickly as possible to accelerate the process. Given the fact that the CAPEX was received at the end of the year, we have included all these investments in the budget for the year 2024 in order to secure the execution of them, as they have to be included in the budget of the specific year in order for them to be executed. In addition to the above, however, while waiting for the loan, we started the process for the actual investments. As such, the items which we were able to commence with were the investment in Raoul Illage. So Raoul Illage, we have the KNVB, which is Dutch Football League. They are officially, I think the process already has started with updating the football field and the updating of the track, which will be an official, I believe, Olympic quality track. The purchasing of laptops and screens for the entire civil service, the tender for the new tax system, which was published in May and closed in August 2023, and is expected to finalize very, very soon. The financial management system has been tendered and awarded, and the implementation is to start on January 3rd. Investments in roads has also begun. I believe Orange Grove Well Road currently is on the way, among a couple others. So while we were waiting on the official funding for these of CapEx, we already started the process of the advice process, so that once the money is here, we just pay and not then start to execute. I'm very happy to have been able to secure the capital expenditure of 90.1 million guilders for the country St. Martin after so many years. The country has been in dire need of capital investments and infrastructure investments, and have been able to secure this for the country as a grand achievement. This has led to actually being able to invest in a much needed new financial management system, as I previously mentioned, tax system, much needed road repairs, school repairs, and many others.
Mr. Chairman, I stand to be corrected. I believe my colleague, M.B. Westcott, asked a question concerning the new tourism office building. What I didn't hear was the amount in the rent that is paid. Yeah, like I said, I stand to be corrected how much it was. So I don't know if the minister wants to make that correction, Mr. Chairman, as to how much it is in rent every month for the new building.
Minister, if you could just give that number, and through the chairman, please.
Yes, my apologies, Mr. Chairman. True, Mr. Chairman, I mentioned it was $27,000.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, so with that being said, and I thank the minister for making that correction, because it was brought to my attention that it was around, that's okay, it's Christmas, it's all right. That it was around $30,000 a month, so 27,000, about 3,000 less. So if that is the case, Mr. Chairman, I am trying to do the quick calculation. Probably one of my colleagues can. So if you look at it, Mr. Chairman, and I also believe the contract is for about 5 years. I also believe, so we are talking about $27,000 a month, and we are looking at 5 years. So we are looking at anywhere in between 3.9, 3 point something million that we'll be paying the Goyas for this building in 5 years. I would like to ask the Honorable Minister, Mr. Chairman, seeing that that is the case, that private individuals that are millionaires will be receiving 3 point something million in 5 years. How it is that the justice workers, would be or have to be receiving their retroactive pay over 10 years. Because at the end of it, Mr. Chairman, it is the same taxpayers' money that the same justice workers, all of us, would be paid or coming out from us to also pay for this new tourism office at the tune of $27,000 a month, Mr. Chairman. And in 5 years contract, they are looking at 3 point something million, but the justice workers have to wait over 10 years to receive their retroactive pay. Can the minister give the correlation as to how is that possible, Mr. Chairman, or why is that they have to wait over 10 years to receive their retroactive pay? And if that is the case, Mr. Chairman, where in the budget amendment can we see how much money would be going to justice workers? How much in terms of a number? So is it 5 million? Is it 3 something million? Is it 2 million? How much would be going to justice workers? And can the minister give an detailed plan out in terms of over the 10 years? Would it be that every year, 2 million, every 5 years? How is it going to be, Mr. Chairman? Also, what exactly, in terms of in the pockets of these individuals, of the justice workers, can one say, well, yes, I have seen an increase, or I have gotten an additional amount in my salary? And with that being said, can the minister also, seeing that he's a minister of finance, Mr. Chairman, when will this happen once the budget amendment is passed? Is it going to happen in December? Is it going to happen in January? When is it going to happen? Is it going to happen at the end of this month? When would this monies be paid out to the justice workers? And also, with that being said, Mr. Chairman, can the minister explain or finally set the record straight when it comes to reimbursement? The justice worker that received money from the last time when Minister Duran was the minister and monies was paid out, will any of that money have to be paid back? Will any of that money have to be paid back? And if yes, can the minister explain why, if any of this money will have to be paid back? Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Chairman, those are the questions I have relating to that issue concerning the monies. And I would also like to ask the minister relating to GB, Mr. Chairman, given the situation and the current situation that they're in, is the minister aware of any financial crisis or situation that GEBE is facing right now? And if the minister is aware, can the minister explain what financial crisis GEBE is facing right now as the moment? Can the minister also give a breakdown of the current accounts on GEBE books right now, Mr. Chairman? For example, what is the current bank account balance in the checking, guilder, and dollar account at WIB? Mr. Chairman, are they in negative? Can the minister give an answer to that if it's the case?
I also must commend the Prime Minister, again, for thinking strategically in terms of getting certain things done, with or without the support of Parliament, because at the end of the day, what's right for the democratic process and what's right for the people doesn't necessarily have to mean it's acceptable to certain members of Parliament. Yeah. Because politics will always be politics. And one issue, for instance, Valerie, that she has been adamant in is doing away with the curtains in the voting booths.
Yeah. Well, that has been, yeah.
That was a hot potato. So hard that it was bouncing around. Nobody wanted to hold it because it will burn. It will burn certain fingers.
Yeah.
It will burn certain fingers. Mark my words, Valerie. We'll see on January 11th indeed what the result will be of that decision. But it's for the benefit of the people. It's for the benefit, because at the end of the day, we need capable people in Parliament to do the people's work. It sounds like, I sound like a politician right now, to be honest. But at the end of the day, that is what is required of us going into Parliament, to do the people's work. And I hate to hear that song and say people, you're doing the people's work. But then it sounds like, you want to putting words in your mouth to satisfy the electorate. But at the end of the day, that is what it's all about. And I don't want to be using the same words that all the old politicians have been using in the past. But people need to understand why I'm doing this. There are things that need to be done. There's work to be done, unfortunately. We have seen umpteen governments in the past 13 years, 13 years.
13 years.
My term in the committee. But the past 13 years, we have seen umpteen governments come and go. I calculate, I wrote down the list of names. In the 11 years I served in the Progress Committee, I've worked with 8 different ministers, including the President Minister Anna Richardson. 8 ministers I've seen come and go as Minister of Justice. I can give you the list. I think I should send it to you because you'll be amazed how much names on that list. You even call a couple of names before our program, including one is Dennis Richardson, you had Roland Duncan, up until via Cornelius the Weaver, and now we have another Richardson. So this time around is the first time we've had a Minister of Justice serve a full 4 years. And trust me, Valerie, it was no easy walk in the park.
You know that.
Not for her, not for her cabinet,
Exactly.
not for her ministry workers. But at the end of the day, like I said a while ago, you can't be ice cream for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
We ain't Baskin Robbins, we ain't Haagen-Dazs with our 80 different flavors. That just ain't possible. So you cannot satisfy all people.
Exactly.
What you can do is to make sure that their rights are secured, and it's up to them if they accept or not. They always have, at the end of the day, the justice will have the option to go to courts and fight their case in front of a judge. And that's our system. Our system allows that. So they have that opportunity. You don't agree with it, they have the opportunity. But the process that I have seen up till now, they've gotten ample time to give their input. Some of them, even on a one-on-one basis, Valerie. It's time consuming. We did a report because I want to show our readers on St. Martin News the process behind the scenes that was going on within the Ministry of Justice to get the salary scales and the workers' compensation and the
function books.
Up to, it was like doing a census. We're talking over 1 million records in a database that had to be one by one going through. That financial controller, Mrs. Thomas, she's a genius.
Take off your hat to her.
When it comes to patience, my God, I tip my hat to her. You know, so it's not an easy process. It's like doing a census, and you see how difficult it is to do a census here in St. Martin. So imagine within a Ministry of Justice with 900 workers across 7 departments. Honestly, Valerie, it's a humongous task. I tip my hat to these people that they got the job done.
And a responsibility, a huge responsibility.
But the thing is, the work is not done yet. We're not there yet. There's still, the execution part has to follow. And there's still, to be expected, court cases to be done. There's still some sort of personnel affairs to be addressed. And then that's just the HR cycle that you have to go through. Again, the Ministry of Justice is a justice apparatus that needs to be fixed across the board in all departments, from police to prison to customs to immigration, you name it. We have entities that exist outside the realm of control of the Ministry of Justice. Good example is the Court of Guardianship, which operates as an independent body under a foundation. They need to turn into a government entity, as what they call a ZBO, a zelfstandig bestuurde organisatie, in order for it to be functioning properly within the justice system. You know, so these things have to be addressed. They have to be addressed by laws. Laws have to be enacted. And what happens when you're in Parliament? You have to write. Laws don't write themselves.
At RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be. RBC is a bank for all of you. Win Christmas cash with a no-fee loan from RBC.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social health insurances.
So my question is, how is the minister looking into dealing with the short-term situation of housing over these 52 students that are currently at this establishment, and how are you, Minister, through you, Mr. Chairman, dealing with this situation? What is the financial implications for the country's annual budget based on what you have indicated in your presentation earlier? Do we anticipate having to increase the budget to effectively accommodate our special needs students? If yes, where and which departments or divisions budget posts do you foresee the budget will be needed in? And can we already expect to see these implications in the 2024 budget? Can we anticipate an increase in subsidies for the subsidized schools in order to fully comply with the implementations of this policy? My final question, according to the requirements stipulated for the special needs teachers, how many teachers do we currently have that would need to meet these requirements?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to the former Excellent Academy students and now the 721 students, I can inform Parliament and the people of St. Martin that after meeting with the parents of the former, let me say the parents of the 721 students, an assessment was done at the time by SSSD to assess the students and their situation. I personally visited 721 location to see the situation myself, and after discussion with the ministry, with persons in the ministry, we have decided to pay for the psychological assessment for those students that did not have it. So I approve the payments, and a psychologist was located, assessed, was gained in order to do that intake. 10 persons were recommended for, I believe, for the psychological assessment. It is important to indicate at the time, because today I'm hearing 52 students, but at that time it was not 52 students, that some of the parents decided not to still put their students, their children, in public education. Last week, the ministry received a request for subsidy from the 721 Foundation, which I believe is a very good thing, because back then too, when I spoke to the persons of Excellent Academy, I did indicate to them also to request subsidy. And so after the discussions, and this is an indication that I am aware of what's going on with those students. The request for subsidy came in last week, and I sent it to the department for handling. In regards to the budget, it is understandable that the budget for the implementation of the special needs education policy will find itself in the budget of 2024. I cannot at this moment say to the Parliament of St. Martin what is exactly the budget line, but for the implementation, that will happen in budget 2024. And in regards to subsidy for the subsidized school boards, I can inform Parliament that subsidy is in place for those school boards who have children with exceptionalities in their schools. And I can recall about 3 or 4 months ago, I approved money for one of the school boards because they have requested money or subsidy for that program. The number of teachers that are needed for the program, that number I do not have at the moment. What I can tell Parliament and the people of St. Martin, that under the professional development program that the ministry have instituted in order to assist teachers that were not up to date 100% in their qualifications for teaching, I have added the part of the certification for special needs, seeing that the special needs policy was on its way to being established. I know that teachers will have to be certified to be able to recognize the situation with children with exceptionalities. It is good to know that from the moment I came into Parliament, after most naturally the situation with COVID came down a bit, one of the topics, one of the items that I requested from the department was the situation with the special needs education policy. And as I have indicated to Parliament, I learned that in 2013, indeed, a work group was established, and together with the department and with the extended ECYS ministry, we have been able to work on the special needs education policy, something that is really, really dear to me, because a lot of times I met many parents with children who ask, what can I do to assist them with their children and making sure that they have rights to education?
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
At RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be, RBC is a bank for all of you. Win Christmas cash with a no-fee loan from RBC.
What does high alert mean for Guyana and its people?
It means that exactly what the president said. While we are a peaceful nation, we have no intention to create any conflict, but I want to tell you that we are, in fact, very alert on our western border. Our forces are deployed. They're patrolling our border, the mountains and the creeks there, and allies are working with us to make sure that our borders remain safe, that as was defined in the 1899 award, where the borders lie with our western with Venezuela. So there's no question in our mind legally where our border stands, and it lies in as defined in the 1899 award, which Venezuela for some reason seem to want to ignore, and they're making all these threats. They're very, very aggressive to Guyana, while we are extending a hand of love and friendship to their people who are coming to Guyana. They're in our hospitals, in our schools, in their housing, and we are working together as brothers and sisters. The Venezuelan government is being very aggressive. They're behaving like the neighborhood bully, and we are a democratic nation, just like Barbados, just like the rest of the Caribbean. We believe in the rule of law and democracy, and so we are very, very disappointed in the rhetoric that is coming out of the leadership of Venezuela.